The Boston Celtics starters have been dominant this season, but the bench hasn't been performing as likely and greatly as the fans have appreciated, and one Celtics insider wrote an article breaking down why the Boston Celtics need to be careful when looking at additions for this roster due to the roster flexibility, and we'll be breaking down what my personal opinions on that and looking at some potential guys in the G League that could come up for the Boston Celtics. We'll also be looking at Mike Gorman giving praise to Coach Joe Mazzulla and why he thinks Coach Mazzulla is here at the right time and it is the right opportunity. All of that and more to break down on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, but before we get into any Boston Celtics news, I would like to say that right around 80% of our viewers and 79.5% of you guys to be exact are not subscribed, and would greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that big old red subscribe button and joined the Celtics Digest family. We can't thank everyone else who's already hit that subscribe button, but if you guys want to make sure you guys stay up to date on everything Boston Celtics, trades, rumors, updates, live streams, make sure to hit that subscribe button as Celtics Digest produces that content daily for you guys, and we have Celtics uploads every single day, so you guys definitely don't want to miss out. Hit that subscribe button. But let's get into the news at hand. Grab a snack, as this is going to be a jam-packed episode as we break down this Celtics news. First, we'll be looking at Mike Gorman showing Joe Mazzulla some love. And I know some Celtics fans are going to hate on Joe Mazzulla. You know, he hasn't been the greatest coach so far for the Celtics. There have been some flaws with him. But for the circumstances that he's been thrown into, finding out he was going to be the coach really late into the season last year, having to bring a team that had already been to the finals back to the Eastern Conference Finals and losing in a Game 7 series, it was tough for him. Now he has his own assistant coaches. He got to do his own hiring. He had all his offseason practice to work with his group, and he's ready to go. And he's been proving it greatly for this Boston Celtics team. If we want to look at this article here, you can see that Mike Gorman said that he's also more relaxed this season, something Celtics play-by-play broadcaster Mike Gorman noted on the Green with Envy podcast, voicing how he has come 180 degrees in terms of personality since first and taking over for Ime Udoka. I think now he's comfortable with who he is and where he's going, continued the New England Basketball Hall of Fame inductee, and he understands that he's going to win some, he's going to lose some, and he's going to be in them. And that is true. Joe Mazzulla has been doing great for the Boston Celtics so far. If we want to look at the Celtics record so far this season, they're top of the Eastern Conference, and they still are undefeated at home at a 10-0 stretch. No one in the NBA is undefeated at home still. So the Boston Celtics have been doing great for their home fans, and they've been looking so far terrific, and Joe Mazzulla has been doing his job for the Celtics. If we want to look, we can see that Mazzulla's placed more of his imprint on Boston's basketball club this season, including leading into the league-wide trend of having players crash the offensive glass from the corners. And this is one big key change that Mazzulla has been working on with this Boston Celtics team this season. It's a tactical adjustment he described that benefits off to the inside the Celtics, conveying the following. The corner crashes are twofold. One, it gives us an extra possession. It's momentum plays. And then it also starts a transition defense because guys aren't getting stuck in the corner and we're not 5 in or 4 or 5 on 3 early in the shot clock. So it's a huge part of both of our offensive and our transition defense. So it's something we just have to continue to grow at. And that's true. It actually has helped out the Boston Celtics. We want to look at this Celtics team. They are one of the only two teams at this point in the NBA quarter into the season that are top 10 in offense and defense. And their offensive numbers were still in the top 5 with their defensive numbers as well before Kristaps Porzingis got hurt. Once Kristaps Porzingis got hurt, that offensive number dropped a little bit around to 9. But the Celtics are still a top offensive and top defensive team. They are one of the best teams and one of the only two teams that have an offensive and defensive rating in the top 10. So it shows that Joe Mazzulla is doing what he needs to do with his players, and he's coaching them in a style that is successful for this Boston Celtics team. It's a new wrinkle that's helped Boston win on the margins and jump out obviously to a 16-5 record, second best in the NBA behind the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that includes being a 10-0 record at the TD Garden like I mentioned earlier. Notice how rare it is to see this team get blown out, Gorman expressed. He keeps team in the games. I think he's the coach of the Celtics for the next 20 years. And Gorman, who's called games for this franchise since 1981, added he was a guy like me in a way. He's in the right place, the right time, and he got that opportunity. And I couldn't express more. Joe Mazzulla has been doing great things for this Boston Celtics team, and we'll have to wait and see how terrific this team looks going into the playoffs. Hopefully we'll have some great additions as well into the season as well to help out the bench, and this Celtics team will be ready to go compete for their championship like they have been in the last couple of years. And this, I believe, is the year they get it done with Joe Mazzulla and this roster, and I'm super excited. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys agree that Joe Mazzulla deserves this praise from Mike Gorman, or do you guys have some other thoughts? I'd love to know your guys' opinions in the comments. But let's look at the other news at hand, talking about how the Celtics need to be careful when getting some bench pieces. And this article was written by Bobby Manning, who I've used a lot of his tweets for my video. So I want to say shout out to Bobby Manning for providing this article for us to dissect today about the Boston Celtics. In this detailed article, he goes into detail talking about how the Boston Celtics have a lot of pieces already on their roster, and when looking to make bench upgrades, it's going to be looking a little bit tricky for the Boston Celtics. If we want to see this, the Celtics still own their first round pick this year, which is really good, but they'll reportedly explore trades to improve their depth in the short term, something that's only further challenging than the organizational depth into the future. Worth it if you win, worrisome if you don't. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum constitute the team's young core talent, and with Brown already signing a $300 million extension last offseason, and Tatum inevitably following his extension in July, getting even more money, the Boston Celtics will have a lot of money tied into their two superstars. Obviously, Derrick White and Jrue Holiday will also need new deals that will stretch into their 30s, and they'll be getting some nice extensions. And with Derrick White improving so much for the Boston Celtics this year, he will definitely be getting an upgrade in his pay. Al Horford at 37 constitutes the entirety of Boston's proven postseason frontcourt depth, while Kristaps Porzingis' injury history most likely closely resembles what you expect from a player of Horford's age. And Kristaps Porzingis has that $36 million deal this year and signed a 3-year extension for $30 million as well. So the Boston Celtics in total are tied up in a lot of money to their three superstars. Al Horford's making $10 million a year, and then Jrue Holiday making his $30 million. Obviously, it'll be a little less next year with his extension, and Derrick White getting a little bit of a pay raise. The Celtics will be in some deep financial trouble if they want to upgrade their bench position. We want to look what he also says. He says, only Sam Hauser, a massive development achievement by the team that boosted a few from the draft since 2018, has consistently thrived off the bench to begin this season, and I couldn't agree more. The Celtics prospects, including Payton Pritchard, who's older than Jayson Tatum and has been cold from three early this season. Neemias Queta, an intriguing 24-year-old rebounder who struggled to stay on the floor with his offensive fouls for Boston. Oshae, Brissett, and Dalano Banton, who've been nice, young, exciting pieces for this team on defense, but they haven't consistently found their shot, and they're approaching age 26. And a thinner cast of potential future Celtics have played in the G League this fall as they attempt to repeat the success of Luke Kornet and Sam Hauser, as those two have been the only consistent guys to come out of the G League. And for the Boston Celtics, it is looking a little bit bleak in that eyes, but the Celtics do have some young stars that have been playing up to their potential. A guy in DJ Stewart is a guy that we've identified as a really talented player that can help, that has a great deal of potential and at the next level, and he's only 21 years old, so he should technically still be in college. He's a guy that continue to play well, continue to play his role, and at a high level. And aside from DJ Stewart, who isn't protected from other teams signing him, JD Davison has played 66 NBA minutes in his second NBA season, Walsh hasn't appeared in one, and Nathan Knight joined as a two-way filler after New York cut him for Jay Scrubb, who originally filled that spot after a strong summer league. He tore his ACL in camp. So the Boston Celtics, for their two-way players, they have Neemias Queta, they have Nathan Knight, they have JD Davison, Jordan Walsh, all that type of jazz. But those guys just haven't been playing that great and haven't looked that great for the Boston Celtics. They looked great for the G League, but they haven't gotten their opportunities yet. And having not that many prospects besides only these 3 or 4 guys for the Boston Celtics is a little bit worrisome, especially when their prospects out of the country as well haven't been performing the greatest. The Celtics are a little bit thin in the G League, and they definitely need some roster boostness. And with only being able to trade, we're not going to trade Al Horford's $10 million contract. You can kind of conjure up some of these low deals and, Oshae Brissett, Dalano Banton, and stuff like that to maybe get a guy. But then you're going to be looking to bring up guys like JD Davison, Jordan Walsh, and stuff like that to play for the Boston Celtics on this team. And if we want to look at one more thing, we could talk about Jordan Walsh, he's the first of an attempted draft and development restart in Boston, which one could also have included an appreciating Warriors pick Portland could use to become the next Indiana, while the Celtics try to strike gold in the second. We keep on eye on Walsh a decent amount, Mazzulla said. We get an email after every game. Craig and Blaine Muller are in consistent communication that we have a consistent development check of what's important to us, where we want him to be at the end of the season, and where we want him to be in from a year from now. You're trying to create that culture of development and understanding of what you try to do up there. It matters. It's important. And it's both what we want you to develop, but we both want you to enjoy the games. They want Jordan Walsh and JD Davison to actually play, not sit on the bench. They want them to actually get their reps and minutes to actually develop and actually play really well for this G League team. So then hopefully in 2 to 3 years, JD Davison and Jordan Walsh can have a nice duo connection for this bench unit for the Boston Celtics. Ultimately, I think guys like Jordan Walsh, DJ Stewart, they'll find their role for the Boston Celtics team. And even though Bobby Manning does hinder here that the Celtics need to be worried about their cap space to get a guys, even though that is true, they do combine some of these smaller end contracts to go out and get a guy, bring up JD Davison, bring up Jordan Walsh. They're not going to play most games. They might play some. And when we get into the playoffs, they're not going to be playing. So it is A-okay. I think the Celtics will be fine. And hopefully they can make some bench additions without getting too risky with the cap development. But hopefully the Celtics core can stay intact so that the Celtics don't end up losing guys and not having young guys to fill out in their roster in the future. So then when we get to that point, it's a mess for the Celtics, and then we have to do a lot of trades. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you guys excited about guys like DJ Stewart, guys like Jordan Walsh, guys like JD Davison? Are you guys ready to make them the NBA leap, or do you guys want them to stay in the G League? I'd love to know your guys' opinions. And if there's anyone that you want to see the Boston Celtics go and target, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys are at this point in the video and you guys are still not subscribed to Celtics Digest, why don't you hit that subscribe button? We know you enjoy the content, and we know you would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this episode. If you guys made it this far, I greatly appreciate it. I'm Bruce Veliz, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.